the Rolling Stones just dropped their single, In the Stars. I just copied it, and Keith is likely using Open G. It's a great riff for everyone to try. So grab your guitar and let's play.
The song, In the Stars, is built on just 3 main building blocks. It's much simpler than it looks. Part 1. Intro and chorus. These two share the exact same chord progression. Once you learn the intro, you've already mastered the chorus. Part 2. Riff and verse. The verse is actually constructed using the latter 2 bars of the main 4-bar riff. They are 2 sides of the same coin. Part 3. Pre-chorus. Think of this as the second drift that builds the tension before the hook. Even the solo is a clever combination. It plays the 4-bar riff twice, followed by the last half of the pre-chorus. Master these 3, and the song is yours. Let's break them down. Now let's look at the full arrangement. First, the intro, followed by the riff. Then we enter verse 1, which leads into the pre-chorus and the chorus. After the chorus, we hit the riff once and head into verse 2. It's a repeat of the same cycle. Next is the solo, starting from the riff and leading into the pre-chorus bridge. Finally, we head into the outro chorus and finish strong with the ending riff. Now let's look at how to play the intro. The progression is D, E minor, G. Wait, did you catch that? It's only 7 bars total. You'll naturally want to play 1 more bar of G to make it an even 8. But the song jumps straight into the riff right after the 7th bar. To be honest, I only realized this myself during the editing process. It's a classic Stones trick to keep the momentum rolling. Since we are in open G tuning, we need to be careful with that E minor chord. One simple way to play the E minor is to strike only the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings. If you want to include the 5th string, make sure to play the position 1 whole step higher than you would in regular tuning. You'll hear Keith adding some subtle obligatos, feels here and there. While those little touches are great, don't get too caught up in the details. The key is to strum freely and capture the vibe of the song. Next, let's break down the 4-bar riff, the soul of this song. It consists of 2 2-bar phrases joined together. The most important rule here, do not play on the 1. Both riffs start on the upbeat, the end of 1.
1, 2, 3, 4.
However, in the intro, you can hear Keith playing a muted brushing stroke on the downbeat to keep the timing. If you find it tricky to jump in, try adding that muted downstroke on the 1.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The secret to getting that Keith vibe is the syncopation on the upbeat of beat 2. By accenting and holding that upstroke, you create a sharp rhythmic contrast. Keith plays many variations throughout the song, so once you have the basics down, feel free to add your own flair. It's all about the feel. Now, let's move on to the verse. This part is very straightforward because you're essentially just playing the latter half of the main riff. The key here is the syncopation. The phrase carries over slightly into the first bar of the verse, creating a smooth flow. Don't worry about being too perfect. Listen closely to the original track and feel free to play it with your own touch. Simply repeat this pattern 4 times, and then you're ready to transition into the pre-chorus. Now for the pre-chorus. This section functions like a riff and moves in perfect unison with the vocals. It's a fast phrase, but since we're in open G, you can play it easily using just your index finger for a bar. Again, syncopation is the key. Between bars 1 and 2, you tie over from the upbeat of beat 4. However, between bars 3 and 4, the syncopation starts from the downbeat of beat 4. Make sure to hold that beat and stay on the count. Now we arrive at the chorus. This section repeats 4 times and follows the exact same chord progression as the intro: D, E minor, G. The arrangement here is very thick, with many different instruments layered together, making it hard to pinpoint exactly what the guitar is playing. My advice: don't overthink it. Just strum freely and follow the energy of the track. As long as you capture the vibe, you're doing it right. After the first chorus ends, the song transitions back into the riff and the second verse. There's a fascinating contrast here. It feels like being pulled from a sparkling, melodic fantasy back down to the gritty reality, the mud of raw rock and roll. Now, let's look at the guitar solo. It sounds like Ronnie is taking the lead here. The structure starts with the 4-bar riff repeated twice, making it 8 bars total. Keith adds some subtle variations during this section, but feel free to play with your own flair. To bridge the solo back into the chorus, they use the latter half of the pre-chorus. Interestingly, it's only 2 bars long this time. A full 4-bar pre-chorus without vocals might have felt a bit tedious. So shortening it to 2 bars keeps the momentum going and leads smoothly into the hook. It's a very smart piece of arrangement. Finally, let's look at the outro. The chorus repeats 6 times, building the energy to its peak. In a typical pop song, you'd expect a big melodic finish or a slow fade out. But the Stones choose a different path. They close the curtain with a single roll 4-bar riff, ending with the riff rather than the catchy chorus. Is a powerful statement. It's their way of saying, no matter how much the world changes, we are a rock and roll band, first and foremost. To wrap things up, I'd like to share my personal insight on this track. Interestingly, the intro and chorus use a very catchy progression. To be honest, the transition from the pre-chorus to the chorus feels a bit forced. However, by using that progression in the intro, they prime our ears, making the chorus feel natural when it finally arrives. This is likely the touch of a modern producer, keeping the Billboard charts in mind. He creates a fascinating contrast, a melodic fantasy in the chorus versus the gritty mud of the riff. Old-school fans might find it a bit too pop-oriented compared to their raw riff-driven style of the past. But that's the beauty of the Rolling Stones. They continue to roll, evolving with the times and absorbing new trends without fear. But to notice the one thing, as soon as that riff kicks in, you know it's the Stones. It hits you right in the gut. Even with all the modern production, the song starts with the riff and ends with the riff. In the end, they stay true to their roots. They are, and always will be, a rock and roll band. That's why we love them. Thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this new track in the comments. Please subscribe. Keep on rolling. See you next time.